Okay guys, so we just finished this problem. I think it's MP3. Yeah. So going to the next page, number 4. Okay, so number 4, it's negative 3x squared. So before we even do anything, we look at this negative, and remember negatives always mean reflections. So if we go ahead and fill out our table, those are the values that we get. Now we're going to graph it. And so remember, we graph our parent function first. Here's our parent function. Okay, and then here is our new function. This time it's p of x, but if you put g of x or anything else, that's fine. That doesn't matter necessarily. So the negative is what's sent it over the x-axis. So it's a reflection. And this 3, that 3, if we look at our graph, it looks skinnier than before. So it's going to be a vertical stretch by 3. So when we go to write this, we can say that it's a vertical stretch by 3 and a reflection over the x-axis. Okay, and you don't have to write all of this, just put vertical stretch by 3, reflection over the x-axis. That's all you have to do. Alright, example 3. We want to graph h of x equals negative 1/3 x squared. And then we're going to compare it to the graph of x squared. So same thing, our parent function, those are the values. Now if we type in negative 1/3 x squared in our calculator, or however you're doing it, we thought the values, we get these y values here. So we're going to plot the ordered pairs and draw a smooth curve through the points. So pink is my parent function, blue is our new function. So we can notice two things. First, let's look at our function here. That negative always means reflection. And 1/3, it's now in between 0 and 1. It's not greater than 1. So 1/3, that's going to make it a vertical stretch. Shrink, I'm so sorry. A vertical shrink. So it's fatter or wider, so it's going to be a shrink. Remember, if we pushed on the ends, it's going to compress it and make it fatter. So we're shrinking it. Okay, the graphs still have the same vertex, which is 0, 0 on this one, and the same axis of symmetry, which is still x equals 0. But the graph of h opens down and is thicker than the graph of f. So that's what we were talking about here. It opens down, it's a reflection. So we can say the graph of h is a vertical, and this time it's a shrink by a factor of 1/3, because that's the number in front of x squared, and a reflection in the x-axis of the graph of f. So again, you don't have to write all this out every time. You can just say it's a vertical shrink by 1/3 and a reflection over the x-axis. That's all I need. All right, next page. Monitoring progress 5 and 6. So I want you to pause the video again and do these. Okay, if you pause the video and you've done this, then you should get these y values for number 5. So if we graph them, they're going to look like this. Okay, so pink is still my parent function. Blue is my new function. Now, we can see that they both open up still, but h of x is much thicker than f of x. So we can see, even just by looking at this, there's no reflection. It's just 1/3, so it's between 0 and 1, which makes it a vertical shrink by 1/3. Okay, number 6, your y values should be this, and your graph should look like this. One second. Okay. So if we have f of x, here's f of x, and we flip it, it's kind of hard to tell if it's wider than f of x on this, but we can always look up here at these numbers. So negative always means reflection. 0.5, that's between 0 and 1, which makes this a vertical shrink. So we can say it's a reflection over the x, and you can say in x-axis or over x-axis, and a vertical shrink by 1/2 or 0.5, whichever one you want. Okay, number 7. Number 7, if you fill in your table, you get these numbers. And we'll graph them. Remember to graph your parent function too. And it should look like this. Okay, just looking at this graph and here, there's no reflection, there's not a negative. The number in front is between 0 and 1. It's a fraction. So that's going to give us a vertical shrink. So we can say it's a vertical shrink by 1/2. Almost finished. Last one. This page looks a little different than the others. All right. -1/4 x squared. So we're going to plot these points, plug those in. Then if we plot those points, our f of x is still the same. G of x looks like this. And from this, we can say that it's a reflection. That's what the negative means. And it's going to be, it's between 0 and 1, so a vertical shrink by 1/4. Okay, so not too bad. This kind of breaks up the things that we've done before break. I keep saying break, before COVID-19 happened. So hopefully this will help you a little bit more. We're going to be doing 3.1 this week. Next week is spring break, and then we'll do 3.2 the week after that. And then hopefully we'll be back on track and back in school, but who knows. Let me know if you guys have any questions.